Welcome to the TAVI Training Institute podcast.
Hi everyone, welcome to the podcast. I'm Ross.
Hi everyone, I'm Tracy.
Good. So Tracy has been going on and on and on about this thing that she read. How long? About a month ago or something, and she's mentioned it so many times. So I thought today I could ask you some questions about it. So it's something to do with using texts, right?
Yeah, in the classroom. Yeah.
Okay. So tell us more.
Basically, 100 years ago, 50 years ago, 15 years ago, and teachers, they bring the text in the classroom, they're using it in different way.
Okay. What way, where are they using texts before in the classroom?
Like 100 years ago, so teacher probably find, a piece of material and bring into the classroom.
Oh, and probably translated it or something.
Yeah.
Right.
So
okay.
word by words and ask them to identify the difference between English to their first language.
Okay.
Right? So that's part of the grammar translation method.
Good. And let me guess, 50 years ago, what did they do? They repeated it again and again and again or something in audiolingualism? Or?
I think the text a little bit different.
Okay.
Was a little bit different compared to 100 years ago.
Okay.
I think the dialogue, they bring into the classroom presented the target language.
Yeah.
For example, is it a pen? Yes, it is.
Oh.
Is that a pen? No, it isn't. It's a pencil.
I've seen these like old school textbooks with these terrible dialogues that are just conversations that you would never ever have with anyone. It's like, is it a pen? Like, unless you're blind or you've never seen a pen before, like, why would you ever ask anyone that question? Like, I've seen these sort of things before.
So you can see it's not really relevant to the student's life, and it's
I'm learning some rubbish that no one's ever going to say. Okay, so that was 50 years ago. What about 15 years ago?
So, like you said, you can see now we talk about communicative approach a lot. So, really want the students to expose to the text in a better context.
Okay.
And something they probably can see or experience in their real life.
Okay. Do you have an example? Is it a pen? So I guess an example for this would be like, it's like if you have a newspaper, then you show students the headline first and a photo from the news article, and then you use that to get them to predict and set the context around the reading, so they can guess what the the text is going to be about, right?
Yeah, and something like that. Maybe I can, show them the blog or website about the restaurant review, and they can find out like the language or the words they're using for the restaurant review. So that's authentic. Of course, for different group of students, you can adapt it and make it more suitable.
Okay, that's 15 years ago. What about?
So about
right
20...
now, 20 days ago.
So now we're talking about class, and we're using like 3 different acronyms.
Okay.
So we basically can plan our lesson based on these 3 types of activities. Okay, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay, TAVI, TALO, TASP.
Okay, TAVI, TALO, TASP. So that's TAVI, TALO,
right,
and TASP.
Yeah, exactly.
Good. Okay.
Can you guess what TAVI is?
I think they're all text as was it a vehicle or a visual? Visual.
Vehicle. Yeah.
Vehicle. TAV blah blah blah.
So text as a vehicle for information.
Okay.
Can you guess what type of activity it is, or can you think of any specific example?
Is this like just information about the target language? No.
It's like, for example, reading, right? And you can ask them to, like you just mentioned before, predict what the reading material is about. Yeah. And maybe ask them to read for 1 or 2 minutes. And they tell you the gist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that's information.
So the students are getting information out of a text.
Yeah.
Okay.
The information can be specific.
Okay.
Really want to help them to understand what this text is about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is like one of these things where it's like read this newspaper article and then select the best headline for it or something. Or it's even like Prince died last week. Like read this article and tell me the names of Prince's 3 biggest albums.
Yeah.
So it's all related to getting information.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the reason why we focus on the information first, because we're talking about 100 years ago, and teacher brings something probably not that interesting to the students, and they translate word by words. And students even didn't understand what this is about, and how, could they understand better about the specific words, the meaning of it, or how to use it in that context.
Right.
So I think the theory behind it, just let them understand what they're reading about, and then let's go details. And
whenever I speak to teachers about this, I always say, well, in real life, you always have the context. Like whenever I read a news article in The Guardian, then you open it up. You know what you're reading. You know you're reading a news article because you opened it up yourself, right? Or if you're in a restaurant and someone hands you a bit of paper, you know it's probably a menu that's going to have food in it because you're in a restaurant. But when we're in an English language class, we give someone a piece of paper that's got words in it.
Yeah.
It could be anything on there, right? So that's kind of why you have to set context. TALO.
Yeah. Just remember the second one?
Text as a language. No? Close as a... Don't know. Sorry.
Okay. Text as a linguistic object.
Ah, okay.
Okay, can you guess
so
again what
I'm
this is
gonna
about?
guess this is where you get the students to like look at words in the text and guess what the words mean from the context, maybe, or find like grammatical chunks of language, maybe, or grammatical forms or something in the text.
I think it's really student centered and let them discover the patterns. For example, I'll find more example or 3 examples of these patterns, or maybe for example, you don't want to tell them, okay, here this is past simple, and you want them to focus on, these 3 sentences look very similar, and then they realize, so why did we use that? And then they can find like the time marker all in the past.
Time marker.
And then they realize, I use this form or structure when we're talking about something happened in the past.
Oh, okay. All right.
Or maybe they can guess the meaning from the context.
So this is like if there's one word in there and you don't understand the word, then you can guess the word from the other words around it.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. And are you would do these in the same class with the same text?
I think ideally if you can start it with the TAVI task or activity, and then followed by TALO, and then at the end you're doing TASP.
So text as a production, is it?
S.
Or speaking practice? No, text as a springboard. Really?
Yeah.
Springboard.
Yeah.
That would be TASB. TASB.
SP.
P.
You're right.
Springboard.
Production.
Okay. Yeah. Springboard to production. Okay.
Yeah.
So is this like what? You're going to ask me to guess now, aren't you? So I'm going to guess there's a pattern here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to guess that this would be like you read the article or whatever it is, right? So sorry, I keep talking about newspaper articles, but you've looked at the newspaper article for the information. You've looked at it and you found like 3 examples of using the past, and then you talk about your opinions on this news article.
Yeah, so basically you want make it relevant to the students and they can share their opinion, because at the end of the day, you want them to use the language in their real life. So how can you make it connected to their life? So you gave them like, again, the real context, and then based on what they read or what they listened to, and then they can make it more personalized and related to what happened in their life. For example, the past tense or past simple tense example. So maybe they can talk about what they did last week.
Okay. So it doesn't necessarily have to be the text, but it could be the grammar you discovered in the text or the words you discovered in the...
Yeah. So basically what you did, the TAVI activity and the TALO activity to support them to complete a task at the end.
Okay, that kind of makes sense. So you're not just doing reading, and then you finish. You're doing reading, and then you're doing something where there's some kind of production, some kind of speaking or writing or something based around what they've just read or the words that they've discovered in the text.
Yeah. Of course, when we're talking about teaching, I think students really like rules, right? Teacher can give the rules for this and that, but I think the same thing for teachers. We don't have like rules for any classes. So just make sure, and if you bring a piece of text into your classroom and you're using it, there is a purpose behind it, not just let them read it and then you never refer back to the text in the class.
And I think this whole thing that you're talking about is something that we taught to our trainees on the Cert TESOL course a lot, which is about recycling or reusing materials, right? So like often we see these teachers come into class with like 7 different handouts per student, and the students get confused, and then a rainforest in Brazil disappeared because these teachers had so many handouts. But really what you want to do is just have maybe one handout, like one text, and then you can use it for information. So for reading skills, you can use it to introduce language, and then you can also use it as a way of prompting students to speak. And you've just used this one material, but you've used it like 3 different times in the class. Yeah,
you're right. I totally agree. I think a lot of teachers spend a lot of time, making cut-ups.
Yeah.
Really they need to spend more time to think about how they can exploit the material as much as they can.
Right. And maybe instead of spending all that time making their own stuff, like finding something that's going to be interesting to their students and then figuring out how to exploit it.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so TAVI, text as a vehicle for information. TALO.
Correct.
Text as a text. I can't believe I forgot this. It's a linguistic. I'm reading your lips. I can't read them.
Object.
Object. Okay. Text is a linguistic object, and then text as a springboard to production. To springboard.
Production. Yes.
It was production.
Yes. Right. Well done.
Okay.
Ooh.
High five.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Tracy. That was interesting, and I know.
Thank you.
I finally understood what those terms mean.
Okay. Next time when I see you, I'm gonna test you.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Goodbye,
Bye.
everyone.
If you'd like to listen to more podcasts, please check our website www.tafeltraininginstitute.com.